Well, of course, we're at the peak of bulb planting time, and if you haven't put any bulbs in yet, you've still got plenty of time to put in most all of them up through October, maybe even early November. And of course, tulips can go in even late November, early December, depending on which part of the state you're in. Well, today I'm in our garden railway, and we're going to be planting some bulbs for spring color, and of course we're going to have to keep it to scale, and that means we want to put in bulbs that are going to grow with the stem size to 6 inches or less. Now the ones that we're going to have a little bit taller, around the 6-inch mark, we'll put closer to our mountains so we can get away with it a little bit more. Things like some of the iris, some of the tulips, again still dwarf varieties, but up towards the front, closer to the buildings, we're going to put in things that are more 4-inch. And right here I'm going to be planting some snowdrops, and you can see even the bulbs are very small. And I'm going to mix those with some of the grape hyacinths, again very small. And this particular cultivar is bicolor, where it's a lighter color at the top and a darker purple towards the base of the flower. And we thought those coming up about 4 inches behind our dwarf monkey grass would really be a nice contrast. So we're going to mix them intermittently. And we follow the instructions that says to plant them 2 inches. So what I've done, I've gone in and made a trench that's actually deeper than 2 inches. And the reason for that is because this is new planting area, so we're going to sprinkle in a complete fertilizer that has nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. And we're just putting a little bit in there in the planting hole. And then I'm going to come in and put some soil over that so the bulb is not in direct contact with the fertilizer, because that nitrogen could easily burn the bulb. Now, if you're in an area that you're going to be planting that's already been fertilized heavily, you can just use a bone meal, which is a high phosphorus, and again we have the phosphorus in here. But now we're ready to put those in at about 2 inches, and it's a good idea to always measure. And there's our 2-inch mark, so we're right at that, because if you get them too deep, you can run into some problems, or in some cases, especially if you get them too shallow. And like I say, we're just going to take a little bit of each one, and it says to put them 2 inches apart. We're just going to kind of push them down in there, mix them in real nicely. And we want it to look naturalized, so I'm trying to offset them so we don't have just a straight row of them. And I've got about a dozen of them, but we're going to mix them up in some other planting areas as well. But I tell you, it really is a little bit of effort to come in and put these things in the fall, but it's so rewarding. And then, of course, once you get the bulbs in, you want to come back in and sprinkle your soil over the top. If you've got any kind of good compost, that's great to put in for the bulbs too. Notice I haven't completely filled it yet, because I'm just going to sprinkle a little bit more fertilizer right over the top of that, so the nitrogen that leaches down a little bit more can get them later on when they start to grow. Now there's really a pretty good selection of the dwarf type or rock garden bulbs that you can plant. And if you'll just start checking with your garden centers and some of your mail order catalogs, you'll be surprised. But I want to show you a listing of some that are pretty common that you want to put into your garden railway.